Hey everybody, it's Matt Fagioli, founder of Xplode Conference. Thanks for joining us on the webinar today. We've got just another minute here before we get started. We've got Steve Passanelli here from Realtor.com. He's on the line and going to be presenting a good bit here in the beginning, but bear with us just another moment. Hey again, everybody. It's Matt Fagioli, the founder of Xplode Conference. Thanks so much for joining us on the webinar today. We've got Steve Passanelli with us. He's the VP at Move, also Realtor.com, and also famous for being the guy behind TechSavvyAgent.com. Welcome, Steve. You there?
I am here.
All right. So we've got tons of people already on the call and a whole bunch more coming. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. One of the questions I've had lots of people ask me is, will this call be recorded? And we are recording the call. If you registered for the call, you'll get a link to get that at the end. So don't worry about that. Also, we've got way more content than we can get through in 1 hour here. So we're going to blast through a whole bunch of stuff. Steve's got a lot of content in his slide presentation about individual emails, responding to leads, things like that. So we're going to talk a lot about that stuff at the beginning. And then toward the end of the call, more about broadcast email and what I would more call general marketing, that kind of thing. So we're going to cover some of both of those things. We've also, because of the amazing response and the tons of questions that we got from all of you, we're also going to add a second webinar next week featuring Dan Stewart, who's the CEO of Happy Grasshopper, which is an email marketing service. Dan's got some really interesting perspectives on what works and doesn't work in that arena. So, anyway, welcome again. Gonna turn it over to Steve Passanelli, and we're gonna start the presentation. So, take it away, Steve.
All right, Matt, thanks. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. And before we get started with all the great content today, I do want to go over just a few more quick house cleaning items. We're on the GoToWebinar format, so if you guys ever attended a GoToWebinar before, you're probably familiar with it. But I just want to point out, if you're having any audio issues whatsoever throughout the presentation, it's actually best to go to your control panel on the right-hand side of the screen and choose the telephone option over the mic and speakers option. And when you choose telephone, it gives you a phone number you can dial in. And that will be the cleanest audio experience, because what happens is if someone's downloading a large file or watching a video at work, then it's going to kill your bandwidth. And then that's the first thing that goes out is the audio. So any audio issues, go over to telephone. If not, yeah, feel free to stick with the mic and speakers. And then also, we're going to answer questions as we go through. About every 20 minutes or so, we'll take a quick break and we'll flip through some of the questions. We won't be able to get to all of them during the presentation, but Matt said we're going to stick around for a little bit afterwards and answer some of the questions that are flowing in from you guys too. So it should be an awesome session. As Matt said, we have a lot of content ready for you, and we might as well just get started right now. Sound good, Matt? Uh-oh.
Here we go, man.
Lost
I'm
you,
sorry,
you
I
guys
just
see that,
muted.
Matt?
I muted out, man. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. So it's about to get real depressing here in a few moments, because there's a lot of hard truths about email. Remember 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you got an email, you would go on your computer and check, and you'd be like, oh, I got 3 new emails, and you were super excited, and you read those emails, and you responded to each individual one, and it was very exciting to get emails 15 years ago. Now it's like you haven't checked your email in 2 hours, and you're dreading to go back and look at it because you open it up, and there's 48 new emails in your inbox, and you don't have time to read them all, and you just want to go through and delete most of them, and most of them aren't from real people anymore either. There are newsletters or spam, or there's specials or discounts from stores or companies. And you can see by the stats here on the screen, I'm not going to read each individual one, but there's a lot of reasons that people report you as being a spammer, and a lot of people do use the spam button on their emails. So it's hard to get your message across a lot of times if you're going to use the digital email medium. 170, and that was supposed to be 175. The average person gets 175 emails a day, and most realtors get a lot more than that actually. And they delete half of those emails. And I'm not talking about reading an email and deleting them. I'm talking about deleting the email before it's even opened up. So deleting it on your mobile device or on your desktop without even previewing that email. So half of all attempts that you're sending out to connect with some of your consumers, just know that most likely half of those will be deleted before they're even opened. And to make matters even more depressing, there's a ton of reasons why people lose interest in emails, and the reasons why people are unsubscribing from emails. If you send it too frequently, if you don't send emails enough, if the content is boring or irrelevant, or they can find the information on their own. There's so many reasons why people will unsubscribe and lose interest in your emails. So the question is, why in the world are we doing a presentation on email marketing today if it seems like it's the hardest thing to do? Well, the real answer to it is it's still extremely important, if not more important now than ever. 98% of 100K earners, and this is an Inman study that was done in 2012, 98% of 100K earners in real estate cited their database as their most important asset, and their communication with their database, and most of that is through email. So even though it seems like there's a major uphill battle going on to actually reach our intended audience, it can be done. And Matt and I got together and we came up with some content, some information, and we're going to share with you some strategies on reaching your audience through email, because the average person spends 2 to 2.5 hours a day just on their emails, reading it as well as drafting and sending emails. So it's still a lot of time. So we're going to go over things like breaking the ice with email, email providers. We're going to go over video email marketing tools. We're going to go over what you should be using in your signature content, how to respond to leads. And I know Matt definitely wanted to go over mass emails. What are you going to talk about for the mass email section, Matt?
Steve, we've gotten so many questions specific to, what should I put in the content? What's the most compelling content for people to respond to? How often should I send them? I mean, just a laundry list of questions. So we're going to blast through as many of those as we can later on in the call.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, let's get started with the first topic here. The most important aspect of any email that you're sending, and this could be for one-to-one communication or one-to-many, the most important tool that you have at your disposal is the subject line. And unfortunately, sometimes we tend to gloss over that subject line. I know when I was creating emails for Tech Savvy Agent a few years ago, I would type up my email newsletter and put a ton of great content in the body of the email, and then I would decide how I would title the email. And that is the exact wrong way to do it. I did it wrong for so many years. You should work on the subject line or the title first, because what ends up happening is, you craft up this great email, but it took a little bit longer than you expected to type the email, and now you're running short on time, and you just put anything down in the subject line. But the subject line is so important for people actually being enticed to open and read that email. A decent amount of time should be spent thinking about the words that you're using and the phrasing that you're using in the subject line and the content that you're putting in the subject line. And one of the most important tips that I can give you right off the bat is make sure the subject line is short. Most people are checking their emails on a device like this. This would be my iPhone. I just did a screen grab here really quick. And notice the subject line on the iPhone or on an Android device. If it's too long, you get this dot, 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 and the message never comes across. People delete emails from this screen with a simple swipe. Apple and Android and all of these new mobile email applications coming out, they make it so easy just to swipe and hit delete without even opening that message. So here's where we need to be compelling. Our most compelling information needs to be on this home screen, and it's the subject line and it's the first sentence of your email needs to be really, really engaging. So what are the types of things we can put in a subject line? Well, a lot of people like numbers and counts, and studies have been done on this countless times, where if you do 3 things every buyer must know, or 5 things seller need to know right now, and you put that number or count in the beginning, it works really well as a subject. And it also works really well, if you're a blogger too, if you're creating a blog article. If you read through any of the news syndication sites, if you read through any Inman articles or even Tech Savvy Agent articles, you'll see that a lot of times we'll put 3 best ways to implement email in your business, or 5 best ways to use video. So numbers and counts tend to work pretty darn well. But there's a lot of other great things that you can do here. Actionable subject lines. Yes or no with the topic right after. Let people know how long it's going to take them to read this. 2 minutes to read. That's a little bit different. It's a little bit out there, but it piques someone's curiosity enough that they might just go and check that out. Or something like need your decision. But you want to be careful with using something like that. Let me skip forward a slide here, because that's what's referred to as like a classic subject line. And I'm sure Matt, knows of these subject lines as well. It's the ones that say something like, did you get my message? And you never sent anybody a message, but in the subject line you write, did you get my message? And if you're doing that as a blast email and you're sending that out to 100 people, you better make sure that the content and the body of your email is extremely compelling, because guess what happens the next time you go to send that 100 people a new email with a new message?
There's a really fine line, isn't there, between compelling and you can cross over really quickly into this guy's a jerk.
Right.
So we sent out a follow-up email for this webinar. I'd be really curious in the chat what people thought about the email that came out, and it had your first name in the subject. Hey Bill, I need your questions for this webinar. That was an autofill tool, but it gets fantastic opens, because you're like, wait a minute, hey, this is to Bill. So
Yep.
anyway.
Yeah, and we're going to dive a little deeper into that topic in a couple moments here as well, because mail merging still works, and if used effectively, it can really work for you for getting the open rates up by using it in the subject line, but also making the recipient think that it's a personalized email to them. Another great thing to do for your subject line is make it timely or urgent. If you saw something on the news last night that was really compelling about the local real estate market, maybe they were talking about the inventory or home prices have been steadily rising in your county, in Chester County, in the Philadelphia area, or wherever you live, then that's a great thing to use as a subject line. Did you see the news last night? Because that person's thinking, well, yeah, I saw the news, or no, I didn't. What do I need to know? And your only goal of that subject line is to get them to open the email. That is your goal. Then your phase 2 is to get them engaged with the content that you're sending out.
So I love that. So maybe the subject could be, hey, Chester County, did you see the news, or whatever, wherever your
Yes.
locale is. A lot of the questions that were coming in last night were, how do I get, people to actually engage with these emails? I think that's a great one.
Yeah, absolutely. So one final note about subject lines before we switch topics here. We were talking about sending mass emails or individual emails. Subject lines are important, but a subject line is extremely important when you get a lead from a website. If you're using any Realtor.com products, any Zillow products, Trulia, or Homes, and you get leads from any one of these services, the subject line is extremely important. And the reason why is because let's pretend someone's on Realtor.com, and the average person spends about a half hour on the website searching. And so they're on there, they're searching for homes, and they finally accept the call to action, and they end up filling out a lead gen form. They type in their name and their information, and they hit enter, and that lead goes to you, from any one of the websites. So you get that lead, you're excited because you just got a brand new lead, and you respond with an email. But here's the problem. That consumer was engaged with a different entity. They were engaged with Realtor.com online. So when someone responds and their name is Peggy Smith, then if they don't have any important information designated that they're from Realtor.com, a lot of people will delete that email without even looking at it. You saw on the previous couple of the previous slides there that people will delete emails based on the subject line and the sender. So if they don't know who Peggy Smith is, or they don't know who you are, there's a good chance your email could be deleted before it's even opened. So a good suggestion here is in the subject line when you're responding to web lead inquiries from any one of the major websites out there, put the website name so they know that, oh, okay, this is the person responding from Realtor.com, or this is the person responding from Zillow. So put your subject line, create a subject line, and in parentheses add Realtor.com or whatever website you're using or they were using. A couple other best practices here. And the first one you really don't have to worry about. Most email programs will stick to this dimension for you. If you're creating any custom templates, you're creating on your own, you want to make sure it's not too wide so people don't have to scroll left and right because they won't do it. We already talked about writing compelling subject lines. We want to keep our call to action. Chances are you're sending an email to someone because you want them to do something, right? So we want to keep that call to action above the fold, that link that we want them to click on, that video that we want them to watch. And if you don't know what the fold is anything on the, well, actually, let me tell you what below the fold is. It's easier to do it this way. Below the fold is anything that you have to scroll down to see. Above the fold is everything that you see right off the bat on your phone or on your desktop without scrolling at all. So it's different on each person's device. So a good rule of thumb is just to put it as far up on the screen as possible. Stick to fewer than 3 typefaces. We don't want to look spammy. And finally, which is probably my favorite, conduct a 5-second test. Always have someone else read your email, and if they don't understand what you're saying in less than 5 seconds, then neither will your recipient, and maybe try to change the subject line and change the first sentence of the email. You have any other best practices or tips you want to share there, Matt, or do we pretty much cover them all?
I mean, I love the 5 second rule. That's a fantastic example. And you said, not more than 3 fonts. I mean, actually, I really think it's just one or
Right,
maybe two, right? That's, you're kidding a little
right,
bit. But the biggest thing that I see people doing is having, 25 directions for the reader to go. Right? One email, one direction. What's the purpose of
right.
this thing? One click, right?
Absolutely. So now let's talk about open rates. The subject line is designed to get your email opened. Most emails are opened within the first hour after delivery. And if they're not opened within the first hour after delivery, that means that person's not checking their email on a frequent basis. And your percentage of getting that email, or your chance of getting that email opened as the hours pass, decreases greatly. Because if they don't check their email for 3 hours and now they have 50 emails, well, you know what? I got to delete most of these right off the bat. I don't have time for this. So the key is we want to send emails during the time of day that most people are checking emails. It makes total sense, right? So do you want to send it at 5 o'clock? Well, no. People are stuck in traffic. They're driving home from work. Do you want to send it at 6? Nope. They're trying to get dinner prepared. They're making dinner. Or they're ordering pizza. 7 o'clock? Absolutely not. They're with the kids. 8 o'clock now, they finally get back to their emails before they watch their shows, and they're checking it again. Here's basically the best engagement times during the day, and it breaks it down into 2 categories, the top click hours and the top open hours. And these are pretty much the same thing, but remember, the click hour means they're actually accepting your call to action, so these time frames are a little bit more important in my opinion, but you can see that they match. 8 o'clock in the morning, great time to send emails. 9 o'clock in the morning, pretty darn good as well. 3 o'clock, yep, 3 o'clock is the time of day, Matt, when people are kind of getting tired of working, and so they start goofing off, checking their emails, shopping online, and so that's a good time to definitely send emails out before they leave work for that day. And 8 o'clock at night, as we were mentioning, after they're done winding down doing everything. So those are some of the best times to send emails during the day. Now, Gmail. I want to get to Gmail here for a few moments and just go over a couple of quick tools for you, because Gmail, in my opinion, is the only email provider that I recommend agents use. And it's for a number of reasons, but the main reason is Gmail is infinitely flexible. It's an open platform. I used the Apple iMail for a while, and I tried to use some other programs here and there, but you're always stuck with that program. The beauty of Gmail is Gmail can be whatever it wants. There are thousands of developers out there that are making the coolest add-ons and additions to the Gmail platform, and it will totally change the way that you communicate with people online. And there's no other open email system like that. Now, I don't even use my Gmail address, really. I have a Gmail address, and people don't even know what it is. People email me at steve@techsavvyagent.com, or maybe they email my Apple address, but that's the beauty of it. If you have your own domain name, like your name at yourname.com, or using another service, you can set these emails up within Gmail. How do you do that? Well, the way I did it was super easy. I just went on Google and I typed in, how do you set up Apple Mail and Gmail? And a billion videos popped up on the screen, and I clicked the first one, watched it, and in 2 minutes I was set up. So that's what I recommend doing. That's not something we can go over on the call here today, because everyone has a different email address, but just Google it and find out. It's super simple to set it up, and once it is, oh, and one more quick thing before I get to the tools. It's going to take you like a week to get used to Gmail. It took me a little bit longer. I didn't really love the Gmail format right off the bat immediately, but after a couple of days of using it, you start getting comfortable with it, and then you see all the benefit of these add-on tools and it being an open platform. So it does take a little bit of time to get used to. So what are some of the tools that you can use? Well, we always want to provide a lot of takeaways. Matt said, Steve, make sure they have a lot of takeaways, from the webinar and things that they can actually implement right off the bat. So I want to provide you guys with some free tools that you can add onto your Gmail to instantly enhance your email communication with your clients. And rather than showing you a bunch of lame slides here, I might as well just show you the real thing, right? Let's go into Gmail. It's always scary opening up your email live in front of in front of an entire audience of hundreds and hundreds of people. But you can see that this is my real Gmail account. These are all my real folders that I have, and I am using Gmail, as you can see by the amount of folders. And I try to keep an email inbox of 0. You can see by, I only have 6 emails on the screen. But I'm going to show you 2 or 3 quick tools here before we switch topics that I think can help you in sending emails and getting analytics and knowing who's opening your emails, and just saving you time in general. If I go to my Compose button here in Gmail, I added a tool onto my Gmail account called Yesware, Y-E-S-W-A-R-E, and you can go to yesware.com to download it for free. What does Yesware do? I compose my email message here, type in the subject line, type the message into the body right here, and all I do is on the bottom of the screen, I hit the track button. And when I hit the track button, I'll know if the recipient opened the email, if they clicked on the links within the email. And mass email programs have this functionality for a long time. They could do that if you're using like MailWeber or Ahrefs, but individual, or mail, if you're using Aweber or MailChimp, I got those backwards there, but individual emails, you really couldn't do that. Microsoft Outlook had a capability where you check it off, and when you send an email, the person gets a message and it says, Steve would like to request a read receipt. Would you like to send one? No, no, I don't want to send a read receipt. And now I'm annoyed that you're trying to track the email, right? So that's not a good idea. But this is anonymous. I click this little button down here and I hit the send key. They have no idea that I'm tracking the emails that are going out, or the recipient has no idea that I tracked that email. And check this out. On the top of my screen here, if I open this up, these are all the emails that I tracked recently. I can tell when they opened it, how many times they opened it. I can tell what device they were on when they opened my email. I can tell where they were when they opened my email. So this gets pretty scary, right, Matt? It's like Big Brother.
I love this thing. I use it all the time.
Yeah, so just know that if you can track this information, people can track it about you too. And I can't tell you how many times people got in trouble with this app, because I would say, hey, did you get my email? And they would say, oh no, I've been so busy I didn't get a chance to open it. Oh really? Because my system told me that you opened it twice so far this morning. Oh, really? Great.
That's funny.
So opened, replied, click-throughs, and here's another great tool, and this is more for leads here again. But if you're sending a response to a lead, and you got a new lead from one of the websites we were mentioning earlier, you can click this little remind button and you can set it up so if that person does not respond to your email in 1 or 2 days, you can just use this slider here or do a custom time. That means that this email will automatically bounce back in your inbox and let you know that the person never responded to you. So you can use that so many different ways. There's a lot of great ways to use that particular tool too, to hold your recipients accountable for responding. So that's pretty cool. Let me show you one other quick tool before we switch topics here. This is probably one of my favorite tools. Let me minimize my yesware there for a moment, and we'll just refresh the screen. I want to show you a tool called Rapportive, and that's Rapportive. Rapportive. And on Rapportive, or what this allows you to do here, is if I receive an email from someone, you see how it starts loading information about this person right next to the email that they sent me? So maybe I got an email from Ernie Graham. I know who he is, but let's pretend I didn't know who Ernie is. It would show me his photo. It would give me some insight to who Ernie is. He's the founder and CEO at Peoply here. And now I have access to his social media accounts. And this is brilliant because it does a reverse lookup of the person's social media information using the email address online. And if they're posting public posts and things like that, you can see that you'll actually be able to see what's going on in their Facebook account. And if I want, I can become friends with Ernie, or I can follow Ernie on Twitter, or I just sent Ernie a LinkedIn invite. He didn't accept yet, so we'll see if he accepts that soon. But I can actually comment and like in the social media space while emailing back and forth. And sometimes, I know this is an email class, but sometimes a like or a comment on a picture of their son's soccer game that they just posted last week will go a lot further than trying to engage someone over email. So this gives you a choice. You can send them an email or you can connect through social media. Have you used this program before, Matt?
Sorry, man. I'm in the chat over here. What were you saying?
Oh, no worries. I was just wondering if you used Rapportive before. Have you used the system
Yeah,
before?
yeah, I have played around with that actually, and it's been fantastic. Pretty much all the, I always listen to what Steve's talking about, except for on this webinar, but I've heard it before. But I'm using all of these tools that you've talked about. I either was using them before or I started using them because of a presentation of yours. And the cool thing is you can use them all simultaneously, and if you plug one in and you don't like it, you can pull it right back out again.
Yep.
A lot of questions in the chat that I've been working on regarding Outlook and other things. So you might want to talk a little bit about that if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Outlook does have a little bit of flexibility in its system. There are some add-ons that you can put into Outlook. You can check your Gmail in Outlook if you're just an Outlook fanatic or user. But a lot of these programs you won't be able to use. That's why I am a Gmail fan because it is so flexible. I don't know what type of specific questions you had about Outlook, but we can get into that, when we take one of our breaks or at the end of the class there.
Well, the questions are along the lines of, can I use all these different tools with Outlook and
No,
other
and that's
tools?
and unfortunately, that's why Gmail shines above all the rest is because all the tools are available for Gmail and almost nothing for anything else, unfortunately. So let me show you one last one, and then we really are going to switch topics. Here's a tool for, again, this is Gmail only. They said it's going to come out for other email providers here soon, but if you have an iPhone, and it's coming out for Android soon as well, but if you're using Gmail and have an iPhone, there's a tool called Mailbox, and this has been a lifesaver for me because this really helps me keep my emails organized, and it turns your emails into a to-do list. So as I go through my emails for the day, I know this is just a tweet here, so this is an email that I don't really have to read right now, so I'm just going to swipe to the right a little bit, and this will archive it so I can access it later if I want to read it, but it's not deleting it, but it's removing it out of my inbox. This is an email about my travel schedule, so my assistant Trisha helps me with my travel schedule, so I just swipe to the right now, and I can drop that email right into her folder. So without even going into a lot of these emails, I can actually do something with them, and especially if it's an email that I need to follow up with later. Like, pretend here's an email I need to follow up with later. I just swipe to the left here a little bit, let go, and I can say, okay, well, I need to get to this. I'm at a red light right now. I don't have time to respond. and I don't want to write while driving, so it's going to be a green light soon. I'm going to have to drive, so let me just hit this one later today or this evening, and it removes it out of your inbox, but it will repopulate back in your inbox later today or this evening. So it's a really super cool tool for basically breaking this down and deciding what you want to delete, what you want to archive right off the bat. And this is called Mailbox, and it's free. It's free for anyone to download. There is no paid version. So really cool. All right. So let's go back to the presentation here and talk a little bit more about emails and engaging your customers and how to implement video in your email. Video can be another crucial component of your email marketing. And I'm not talking about emailing someone a video and putting a link in the email directing someone to watch the video on YouTube, because in essence that's a really terrible way to share video with people. Why? Because again, chances are you're sending someone an email for a reason. You want them to click something, do something, accept the call to action, and as soon as you put a link in for a video and they're whisked away to YouTube, they're watching your video on YouTube, you just removed yourself from your call to action. And now they're watching the funny kitty video, and now they're watching the funny dog video, and they totally forgot about your email altogether. So what BombBomb or iJot does for you, it allows you to build emails into the, or I'm sorry, build video into the body of your emails. So the person is actually watching the video while still staring at your email. It doesn't whisk them away anywhere else. And it works on iPhones, and it works on Android devices. It's pretty cool technology. iJot would be your free version, EYEJOT, that would be your free version. And that allows you to send one-to-one emails, and it's fairly decent. But let me ask you a question here. If you send someone a video email and on their phone they're about to view it, or on their desktop and it says buffering, will they wait? Probably not, I'm going to guess. So BombBomb, that's the paid version, of course. You get what you pay for kind of deal. What they do is they render the video in low res, medium resolutions, and high resolution versions. And whatever the person is viewing the video on, depending on their internet connection speed and the device that they're viewing it, it will deliver an optimal video experience for them, so it plays immediately. Also, BombBomb is better for mass emails too. If you want to send, or it does do mass emails. So BombBomb is something that I use for my mass emails and my newsletters. I switched from Constant Contact over to BombBomb because I found that just by adding a video on the top, my open rate and my conversion rates went through the roof. And I don't work for BombBomb. I don't get paid any kickbacks if you use their service. It's just something that I actually signed up for and I was paying for myself. But if you are interested in checking out video email, go to bombbomb.com/techsavvy and you get 25% off by going to the TechSavvy website. And I did lie a little bit there, Matt. The BombBomb guys, even though I don't get any kickbacks or paid to promote their product here, when I do see them at events, they buy me some beer. So I do get free beers from it.
Well, they're great guys, and I love their product too. I've used it some, and they've been to Xplode conference sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, guys, anything we talk about here, 98% of it, neither Steve or I get compensated for. Every once in a while, there's something that, it's a sponsor of Xplode or whatever, as is Realtor.com for that matter. But we're just going to share, openly as much as we can about every single thing that works out there. So there you go with that.
Yep, absolutely. So let's talk about segmenting emails, because I know, Matt, you wanted to get into mass emails, and I'm going to show people a mail merge here really quick too. But segmenting emails is extremely important, and by segmenting I mean not having a database and just doing one mailing to the entire database. I'm going to use, and Matt said 98% of the time, we're talking about stuff we don't get compensated for. For this example, I'm going to use Top Producer because Move owns Top Producer, and this is the program I have access to.
There's there's actually been a fair amount of questions as well in the chat about specifically about Top Producer. So I'm actually glad that you're doing that. Just so you guys know, there's a question button. You can ask a question. I've been answering most of them privately. I think I've answered about 60 already. And I haven't pushed that into the public stream just to avoid the distractions. But if you have a question, go ahead and type it in there, and I'm answering as many as I can live, and then we'll stay online after the call and answer more as well. So sorry to interrupt,
Yeah,
Steve.
absolutely. And so I'm going to show you this example using Top Producer, but a lot of CRM systems have mail merges and allow you to implement that. So if we go to compose email here in my Top Producer, rather than just sending it out to my entire database, most programs allow you to segment, like we were saying. So I can go in here, and if I saw an awesome news article last night, or I watched the news last night, and they were talking about it being a great time for first-time home buyers, to buy their property, to buy a new home. I can select my first-time home buyers, hit the search button. It's going to find these people in my database, and I can email selected. First, I need to choose them. I can email these selected contacts. And what's so great about this is you're going to notice that by sending emails and segmenting, that more people will respond because they're actually opening the emails. Because I had these people in my database designated as a first-time home buyer. So now we would use that subject line. Did you see the news last night? Because remember, those subject lines work because they're dealing with something right now. They're immediate. And then in the body of the email, switch it up though. A lot of people, they'll do a mail merge here, and they'll start off the email with the person's name right off the bat. So I could go down here and I can click Insert Merge Code, and by Insert Merge Code, I can select the person's first name or contact first name here. But that's probably not the best thing to do. I encourage you and I challenge you guys to be a little bit more creative than that. Maybe right in the first sentence, talk about the story that you saw last night. So say, blah, blah, blah. You're mentioning the story that you saw last night. Very quick, one sentence line here. And at the end, say something like, and I thought of you, comma, and now we do insert merge code contact first name. Bam. So this is a different way. Someone receiving an email like this is not the standard way most spammers and newsletter people and companies send emails out. They put the name right off the bat. So now we bucked the trend a little bit here. We got right into the topic talking about that great story last night, and I thought of you, John, period. And now it seems personalized. And watch your, open rates increase when doing things like this. So that's an example, of a mail merge that you can do right out of Top Producer or the CRM that you're using. So let's minimize that now for a moment. The other thing I just wanted to mention here before I kind of pass it over to Matt here so he can go over some of the questions that people are asking. And there's a couple more topics I do want to touch upon if we have time here at the end, like email signatures and things like that. But just think about the content that you're sending out to your clients too. Not only do you want to use the mail merges and segment your database and make it specific, but if the information that you're sending your contacts pertains to them directly, for example, market statistics and market data like in and around their neighborhood, you can use tools like Market Snapshot to do that, and you're going to notice your open rates and your conversion rates go through the roof. Because when they get an email that says, here's what's selling in and around 2243 Hollister Street, and that's their address, think about how personal we're making that communication. And tools like Market Snapshot, which is available, from Move to, it's a Move product, will do this for you automatically for your entire database. You can set up 300 or 400 people to get these customized reports and to engage your clients with. So, Matt, do you want to take it over for a little bit now, or do you want me to get into email signatures?
Yeah, keep blasting, man. I mean, you're doing great, and I'm just cranking along on these questions, which are fantastic, everybody. So yeah, let's keep
Okay,
going.
great. Yep. So yeah, let's get into email signatures. Now I deleted the information out of this one. This agent is obviously killing it. She's killing it. She's got a lot of accolades and awards here, and that's fantastic. But the only problem is her email signature. It's really, really long, and no one is going to click on all of those links. You can actually get a decent amount of clicks, and you can create a decent call to action on an email signature that works if you only have one. There are just too many places to go here. There's too many things to do on this screen, and people end up picking nothing off of the screen for the call to action. And look at how this appears on my phone. This is the way it appeared on my desktop, but on my phone here, it was 3 pages worth. The message was much shorter than her email signature. So I want to share with you my opinion on the way that you should draft or create a good signature. It should be short and concise. And if you have an email signature like this with your favorite social network or two on here, and then you have a link or a call to action directly underneath, you'll notice that more people will accept your call to action because it's short and direct and to the point. I use a program called icon.me, icon.me, and this is free, and it's pretty darn cool. Whenever I send out an email, so if I go into my top producer here again and I just go to compose email, or you go into Gmail, I have this set up in my Gmail account, no matter where, you can see it automatically imports in this nice clean looking signature. And I'm not bombarding people with all my information, but when people click on that, they go to a page here which has all of my detailed information, just like an electronic business card, my phone number, my email address, website address, etc. And it allows them to get a little bit of insight into my life because these are all my social media posts here on the same screen, which is pretty cool. They can get more information about me. They can see connections over here too and see what they have in common with me. And I get analytics on the back end too, so I can see how many people are clicking on my email, if it's actually working here. And for some reason, my
Wow, you actually
connection's
got
kind
me
of
with
weird.
this one, Steve. I have not seen this before. That's very, very cool.
Yeah, it is really cool, and it's free. You can set up your profile 100% for free, and then track it and have a nice looking email signature. But let me show you something else here. So, and here are the analytics, that I'm viewing on the back end, so I can see how many people are sharing and clicking through it, and where people are who are checking out the signature. But here's why it really works. If you want a powerful call to action, this makes it so simplistic, and this makes your email signature so simplistic that if we were to put a tagline under here, this tagline is going to get more clicks. Now, we can put something like, your neighbor just sold their home. Your neighbor just sold their home. Click here to see how much they got. So just pretend that that's what we typed in right there. I'm a terribly slow typer, so I'm not gonna do that. But we could have a little tagline here, and we could highlight this portion of the text or highlight the whole thing if we wanted to. And we can link this to something on our website that provides information about the latest listings and the recent solds. If you're using that market snapshot tool that I was just talking about, people can actually see that information on their, on your website. They can key in their address and see what's selling in their neighborhood instantly, and get that email. It locks them into a drip campaign. So whatever value proposition you have on your website, whatever the tool is that's really cool that provides instant information, create a tagline for it, and then go in and then just link that. We would hit insert link, and we would copy the URL, which takes them to that really cool tool that we want to direct them to. And I'll just type in Tech Savvy Agent just for the example here, and you would click insert, and then you make this a little bit bigger, on the bottom of the screen here. Maybe we bold this, and now we have a simple email that will actually work in terms of generating leads, or not even leads, just generating traffic on our website, because a lot of times people won't even click on it because your website's buried within phone numbers and addresses and all of your other information. So clean and simple is the way to go, in my opinion. All right, let's go back here. So, I don't know how much time we have left here, Matt. Do you want me to go over some of the responses to use for web lead inquiries, or do you want me to go over some more tools? Because I have a ton of content. It just depends on what the audience. What do you feel the audience wants at this particular point in time?
A lot of people want you to go back and talk about the Gmail tools. We
Okay.
blasted through a lot of tools really quick, so maybe pop back to that.
Yep.
And then we can add a few more things, and then we'll start thinking about Q&A.
All right. This one's ridiculous. This is a must download for people, and this will make your email, this will keep you sane because it keeps your email inbox clean. And this product is called unroll.me. It's free in every sense of the term free. It's not free-ish, it's not freemium, it's not, use it now and then you'll pay, later. This tool is actually free. And what it does for you is, you ever get an email and on the bottom it says unsubscribe, and so you don't want the email anymore and you click unsubscribe. And then it takes you to another page and it says, okay, what email address do you want to unsubscribe from? And you have to type in your email address. And then it says, check off, what you do or do not want to receive. And then you do that. And then by the time you're done, it takes like 1 to 2 minutes just to unsubscribe from a simple email. What this does is you sign up for it, and it scans your emails, and it gives you a list of every single vendor that's sending you emails, and it puts it into a nice, easy-to-read list, and there's one button next to each vendor. And I unsubscribed from about 150 vendors in less than a minute just by clicking unsubscribe, 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 right down through the list with no hassle and no worry. It's awesome. That's half of the battle, though. So it unsubscribed me from half of the emails I didn't want to receive, but then I get emails from like newsletters that I do want to get every once in a while, or I get emails from like Banana Republic or something with 40% off. Well, I don't buy clothes all the time, but in 2 months I might need to buy a new shirt. Do I want to get those 30-40% off emails every other day? No, because that's how often they send it. So what Unroll Me does is after it gets rid of all the spam for you, then it takes all of your other newsletters and emails you're getting on a consistent basis, and it puts it into something called a roll-up. And what the roll-up does for you is it takes all of those emails out of your inbox. I'm not getting emails from Banana Republic anymore in my inbox and Gap and all the stores and things like that, and newsletters and everything else. What it does is it puts it into a single email that if I want to buy something that day, then great. It makes it pretty darn easy for me to go into my roll-up there and check out all the products and all the specials and discounts that were sent to me that day. But
Steve,
it
you
doesn't
forgot to
cloud
tell
up
him,
my inbox.
Steve, that Matt Fagioli and Steve Passanelli's emails are excluded from this tool. You have to put
Oh
that disclaimer on.
yeah, absolutely. So if you're signed up for Tech Savvy Agent or for the Xplode emails, it does make it easy though, because you can see here in the background of the screen, you can click the minus button. You can take emails out of the roll-up. So if you say, hey, I want to get these every day because they're valuable. I'm going to be able to attend webinars and learn a lot, so I want to get that every day. It allows you just to uncheck the box, and that person will go into your regular old email inbox. Good point, Matt. Thank you. So let me share with you another tool here too. This one's pretty cool. It's called, and this one does work with Outlook for our Outlook friends out there. It's called WriteThat.name. So it's an odd name. You always want to put a .com behind things, but it's WriteThat.name, exactly the way that you see it up there on the screen. And what this does for you is this is something that you sign up for, and you're like, I don't even know what this does. Is it even doing anything for me? And then a couple weeks later, you're like, holy moly, this is pretty freaking awesome. So, and I don't even know how it works. As it says, it's auto-magically. It somehow scans all of your emails and finds information about the contacts that you have in your database and on your phone, and it updates the contact records with their work and work address and phone numbers and emails that you didn't have. And it's so cool because it'll give you this report after a while, and it'll say, okay, you had Darren Dawson in your database already, but you only had his email. We automatically found his phone number, and we found that he works for BombBomb. And then it shows you what they added in, and it just does it in the back end. And the benefit really doesn't come until it's a month down the road, and you look at your phone and you look up a contact, and the contact record is completely full and filled out, and you never even touched it. So they allow you to use it for free for like a couple of months, and then of course they try to charge you for it, there. But they give you 10 free updates a month after that. But just for the first like couple months that you get to use it, it will change your email inbox around totally. And what's really cool about this is it works with Outlook and Gmail. So it updates the contacts on your phone too, because your phone's probably syncing with Outlook or Gmail, so your contacts on your phone are good to go. Or if you're using a product like Top Producer has a full Gmail sync or a full Outlook sync with emails and contacts. So all your contacts in Top Producer are automatically updated too. So it's
Wow.
really, really cool.
So, Steve, are you talking about that this is for Gmail and for Outlook? Is that what I heard?
Yep, Gmail and Outlook.
Cool.
So it's called WriteThat.name. All right, so we're at 2:18. We have about 12 minutes left. I talk about this. I'll just go over one other quick slide here. I talk about this during the Xplode seminars, but if you haven't been there yet, we're going to give you a couple of dates and when we might be coming to your town here in a few moments. But if you have, it's always good to have a refresher. We talked a lot about responding to leads here today. And I wanted to share with you, because we mainly focused on the subject line and getting the person to open the email, I want to share with you what you can use in the body of your email to respond to a web lead inquiry that didn't give you a phone number. And this could be from your website, this could be from Realtor or Zillow, anywhere. It doesn't make a difference. This particular phrase came from Tiger Lead, which is a lead generation service. They've been in business for 7 years, and they send their clients hundreds of leads a month, every single month. And so they've been working with their clients closely to find what the best response was to get a phone number from internet leads. And through years and years of study, they found that this is the best response to use in the body of your email. I have some important information that you requested about, and then you put the street address. Call me as soon as possible. That's it. A lot of agents, they spend way too much time giving up too much information in the email, and then the person never responds. It's like that person speaking another language. They ask a couple questions, specific information. You gave them all the information they needed, and then what happens? Nothing. They don't respond to you. They don't get back to you. If you use a compelling subject line and you use the body, or in the body of the email, you use something like this: 2 sentences. That's it, with a signature on the bottom, with a call to action. You watch your phone ring, because obviously on your signature you're going to have your phone number in there and everything. I have some important information that you requested. Call me as soon as possible. There's a sense of urgency in this email. We're piquing their interest, and now they're sitting there thinking, well, what's going on with this property? Is it off the market? Did it already sell? Is there something wrong with the home? And watch your phone ring using a phrase like this. So again, email can be an extremely powerful medium if used correctly. If we think about our subject lines, if we personalize the emails, with our mail merges, if we use the correct tools to even understand if our message is coming across the right way. If you don't know your email is being opened, then how are you going to know if your message was resonating with with that particular consumer? And using tools like Yesware and using tools like Reportive can really help you do that too. So what we'll do now is, I know we're going to get into a lot of questions. We're going to stick around for a while. I
Hey
want to
Steve,
bring up a.
did you already go back to the slide that had Reportive and the other Gmail tools on it?
Oh yeah. Do you want me to? I can go over a lot more tools if you guys want me to.
Well,
I
just
have a
hit
good
those
one of them.
again real quick. Just everybody's, I've had a lot of questions about what those tools were and what the websites are for those tools. So just hit that real
Okay.
quick.
Yeah, that's a good point. So Reportive is just, reportive.com. That's an easy one. And I saw that you posted that for Yesware too. So you guys have the Yesware one. Boomerang I actually don't really recommend as much anymore, because Yesware just released a new enhancement last week that does what Boomerang does, and it's built into Yesware. And I do recommend the Yesware program. So it kind of overshadowed the Boomerang system here. This was the Unroll.me program. Cloud Magic is pretty darn cool. I didn't go over this one, but watch this. This technically isn't a Gmail add-on. It works, when you're in Gmail here. If I just go to my main screen, or it works as a Chrome plugin. But what this system does, what Cloud Magic does for you, is we have information spread across so many different platforms and systems. It's like mind-boggling. You use Evernote, you have Google Drive, you use Dropbox, we have 5 different email systems, we have 5 different social media networks, and you have conversations with people across so many different social media networks and email systems, etc. So what this does is it allows you to type in search phrases, and it searches through everything. So I typed in the word SEO, and it now found every single email that has the word SEO in it. It found every conversation where people mention SEO. It found every single document, Google Drive, Dropbox, Evernote document. It found tweets and Facebook posts. And so it searches through your entire digital world to find any information that you want. And this is actually a terrible product. And the reason why this is a terrible product is because I am so unorganized, it's not even funny. And I started to become more and more organized, putting information away where I knew I could find it. And then Cloud Magic came out. And it just destroyed my world, because I said, why do I need to be organized anymore? Because I can find anything instantly now. So this is a good program and a bad program. It's allowing me to stay unorganized and haphazard, which could be a bad thing, but it's pretty darn cool for finding information quickly. And it works on your iPhone, Android, desktop, doesn't matter.
So this is like Mac laziness extended to the rest of the world.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Pretty
Awesome.
much.
All right, Steve. Well, why don't we flip over and just start talking with questions? And I've got a stack in my hand that people have sent to me, but also, I've been blasting through questions on the stream as well. The
And
first,
real quick, Matt, before we get to the
sure.
questions, because I'm sure we'll lose some people when we
Oh
get into the
yeah,
questions if they're
yeah.
tired. I just want to go through, if you live in any of these areas, if you live in Boca Raton, Los Angeles, Dallas, we are coming to your hometown. So you want to make sure that you sign up for the Xplode conference in your area. And as Matt already mentioned, Dan is going to be doing email part 2 next Thursday at 11:30. So if you want to put the link in to the webinar into the chat box for everyone, Matt, so they can click on that and sign up, immediately, that would be great. And finally, here, I mentioned Top Producer a couple times and Market Snapshot throughout the webinar here today. If you don't have those tools and you have questions about those tools, we developed a special phone number for the Xplode attendees. And if you dial that number, you will get a special discount on all the products. So Snapshot, Top Producer, you'll get it at the cheapest rate possible. And the other cool part is you'll get a free DVD for giving any of the products a 30-day, we have a 30-day money back guarantee. And you get a free training DVD, similar to what you heard here today, but it's on mobile. And it's going over the best mobile tools, applications, how to implement mobile into your daily lives and your business. And it's a training DVD, and you get it 100% for free too for giving any of the products a try. So I wanted to bring that up on the screen. Cheapest rate DVD, can't go wrong if you're interested. And let's hit those questions, Matt.
That's awesome. Okay, thanks, Steve. Guys, I did
Yep.
put the link in the chat so you can register for webinar number 2. If you want to go ahead and do that while you're thinking about it, it's going to be next Thursday. It's going to be a little bit earlier. It's 11:30 East Coast next week for email marketing number 2 with Dan Stewart from Happy Grasshopper. On that call, we're also just going to dig, more into a lot of the questions that you guys have already asked. And we're going to work on some of those now. Steve, specifically, we got one a few minutes ago saying if I'm starting with a new Gmail account, she got 10,000 contacts in Top Producer.
Yep.
She's talking about syncing those, and I think she was also referring to the write that dot name. Would that sync it for her? Why don't you talk some about that?
It'll sync automatically. Top Producer has a highly integrated Gmail Google Sync. And so your contacts will automatically dump into Top Producer once you enable that in the back end. So it's just under a setting. There's something called Google Sync, and she can turn that on, or she can choose what contacts dump into Top Producer. And then if she updates Gmail, it automatically updates Top Producer. If she updates Top Producer, it automatically updates Gmail, automatically updates her phone, and everything works in harmony now. It's a
Nice.
new feature.
Holy cow, that's awesome.
Yep.
Tons of people asking if the call is being recorded, and it definitely is. We're going to make the slide deck available to you and the whole webinar available. We'll send you guys out an email when that's ready. And again, you can register for webinar number 2 next week by just looking in the chat. The link for the second webinar is there already. Steve, lots of people asking about the frequency of sending emails and also the schedule, best times to send it. I know you covered that at the beginning of the call, but I think we had a lot of people not catch that. So you want to go back over that for a minute?
Yep. Yeah, so frequency, you can check out statistics and reports and studies, and every single study that you read is going to be different from the previous study that you just read. And so it all comes down to this. If you're not forcing content and the content is good, then send it as frequently as you would like. If the information is relevant, if you're just sending out a newsletter and it contains information that you wouldn't read or you're not interested in, then that's information that your audience isn't going to like either. If it's relevant, if it's timely, if it's especially relevant to the group, we talked about segmenting too. Then it's okay to send out. There is no magic bullet for, okay, you send out once a week for the next 33 weeks or for the next 30 weeks, because it all depends on the person and how close they are to wanting to transact. In terms of time frames, yeah, I'll bring up that slide again because this one This is a pretty good one because Get Response, you can see they analyzed 21 million emails sent in the first quarter of 2012. So this is a fairly comprehensive study that they did. And these are the best hours to send. These are when people open emails the most and click through emails the most.
Cool.
I'll just leave that up.
Awesome. Okay, let's see. Let's pull out some other goodies here.
And you're
Why don't you
speaking.
talk about
Good.
broker tools for a minute, Steve? Lots of questions. Well, some questions that seem relevant and important about how brokers can manage, communications like this for a whole bunch of different agents, customize them. Do you have tools like that within Top Producer?
Um, you know, just being upfront, you can use Top Producer to do those types of things. It is designed more for residential real estate, but using those merge codes, you can merge in an agent's name for recruiting purposes and create action plans, so the reminders of predetermined series of events. Is it designed specifically to do that? No, it's not designed to do that. It is designed for more residential real estate. Um, there are other systems out there, and basic email programs that you can use for that as well. And
Heard
you can create your own templates in Top Producer too, so that would help as well.
heard another direct product question here asking you. Actually, this is the second question for the same question. Would you compare Top Producer to Sharper Agent? Do they
Yeah,
compare and how?
we get these questions all the time, and of course, I work for Move, and they own Top Producer. In my opinion, Top Producer. When I first got my job right out of college, I worked directly for Top Producer, so there's a soft spot in my heart for them. But there was a time where Top Producer got so convoluted and hard to use several years ago, and then they came out with their new CRM app, and the CRM app on the phone and the Gmail sync is so ridiculous, and we have Outlook sync too. And it's so ridiculously easy and it works automatically that I would say the biggest benefit to Top Producer now over other systems is in its simplicity. How easy it is to make a phone call and have Top Producer log that phone call in the database for you automatically because you did it right off your iPhone or your Android, or the ability for you to check your Top Producer on your Kindle Fire device and not have to worry about what operating system that you're using. So they really looked at the program and they said, you know what, let's get rid of a lot of these buttons and a lot of these steps and let's simplify it. And in my opinion, the CRM system that's best for you is the CRM system that you're going to use. And generally, that comes down to the one that's easiest.
Steve, can you put the slide back up for the Xplode conferences coming up? People were asking
Yep.
about the dates and the code. So I'm just going to run through this real quick. So we've got Boca Raton, so our next conference, June 25th. Los Angeles on the 24th of July. Dallas on September 6th. Jacksonville, Florida, October 10th, and Atlanta on October 29th. We've got our 3-day summit in December. We haven't announced the location for that yet, but that's going to be a serious deep dive if you want to integrate everything in the world and come out with a 2014 business plan. That's what Xplode Summit is. It's the first time we're doing this. Getting tons of interest in that. And also, we've also made the conferences $30 off just for everybody on this call. Use the code WEB1 to register for any of our live conferences. Thanks for putting that up. Steve, can you see the question stream that I'm looking at?
I can't, unfortunately. It
Okay.
says nothing, so you'll have to read them to me. And if you don't mind, if I could
This one just
just
says
put
you
up.
guys are awesome, which I appreciate. So thanks for that.
Oh,
Sorry,
all
Steve,
right.
go ahead.
I just want to put up Tech Savvy Agent because this is my website. If you're not familiar with it, there's nothing to buy on this website. There's nothing to sign up for. I don't sell you anything on the site. It's just free information. So if you enjoyed the content, stay connected with my newsletter updates right here, and check out the latest and greatest technology tools. On the website.
Nice.
It's all free.
Hey, Steve, can you talk about a lot of people have asked the apps that attach to Gmail, explain how they actually do that? Like, I want to add
Oh, okay.
Reportive. What does that look like?
Yeah, this is what's so brilliant about these applications in Gmail. So I go to yesware.com because I just heard it on the webinar and it sounds cool. So how do I install that? Well, there's one button that says Add Yesware to Gmail, and you click on it, and that's it. Yeah, after you click on it, say, "Are you sure you really want to do this?" Allow, yes. And then when you go back into your Gmail, all of these new buttons just magically appear.
Isn't that
I mean,
crazy how
that's
easy it is?
same
What
thing with Reportive. If I go to Reportive, you'll see the same big button somewhere. I hope. We'll see. Yeah, there it is. So the same big button. Add Reportive to Gmail. Click.
isn't that
Now
cool?
this, there's a couple extra steps because you want to link it to Facebook. You want to link it to your Twitter account, things like that. So we'll ask you for that information. But besides that, anybody can do it. Super simple, and that again just makes Gmail the product to use.
Hey, Steve, lots of people asking about converting from their Outlook and in some cases all the folders they have in Outlook and switching that over to Gmail. Is there an automated way to do it? Blah blah. We talked about how you could do it through Top Producer, I guess, but what about just straight from Outlook to Gmail?
You see, here's I didn't switch from Outlook to Gmail, so I don't want to give out bad information. But I bet you there's millions of posts. And look at this. Brought it right in here, converting from Outlook to Gmail,
This is
and
like
then
talk.
with
This is like when I
go,
talk to my son. He's like, "Dad, how do I find out?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, kid, the
so
Google.
here it
Go
is,
to the
export
Google."
contacts. But what I really recommend doing, forget this first screen. Don't even do that. Just go right to the videos.
Yes.
Watch someone do it. Export Outlook to Gmail on Vimeo. Wow, there we go. And here's a 3-minute video on how to do it. Done.
Right. All right. Cool. All right. Let me pull you out something else here.
Yeah, because I didn't do that, so I don't want to give out bad information and have people lose all their contacts and then blame Xplode and me.
Exactly. Do you do you know about an add-on called Streak for Gmail? Is that a G rated thing, Michael? What's Streak for Gmail? Do you know?
Streak?
I haven't heard of that one.
Streak? I haven't heard of this one either, but let's see. Oh, you know what? I have heard of this. Yeah, this is like an integrated CRM, and it has a pretty cool graphical user interface. They call it a GUI, and I think I installed it for like a day just to like check it out. Let's see. I haven't used it extensively, and I think I checked it out for a day or two, and it seemed pretty darn cool. Now look at this. Now again, how do you install these applications? I'm done.
Give it the old clickaroo, huh?
So yeah, now Streak should be a part of my Gmail platform. We'll see. We'll see what it did. But if I remember correctly, it added like another tab or something up here to my Gmail when I was testing it out, and it brought in like a CRM section. I don't see it here in a moment, but I don't have experience with it, so I don't want to provide more information on it. But it did. I
Mm.
thought I remembered it providing a tab up here with a CRM experience.
Well, and guys, back to the Outlook questions and stuff like that. We'll try to put some more of that stuff on the call next week, the second webinar call. Um, so make sure you sign up for the second call, and also I'll dig up some video links that are specific to making those changes. um, Man, there's just a ton of other questions coming in, but they're all kind of along the same line as far as I can tell. I think the big things, some big takeaways for me are to make sure that you have um, rock solid subject line, rock solid first sentence. Steve, you want to switch back to the your iPhone image where you were showing what your inbox looked like on mobile?
Yeah.
Because I thought that this was, really, really important piece right here, to make sure that, this is what people are going to see, and they're going to make a delete decision based on this, right? So you've only got what, 25 characters of subject and maybe 50 characters of, the body, and you better say something useful in that space, right?
Yeah, like this one here, real estate facts and trends, view email online with a link. I got nothing from that.
Right.
There's a good chance that that might go to the trash can.
Well, and obviously, it's a matter of building reputation, right? Because what about people's names? Like when you see this Rich Buteau guy who I don't know, that name means something to you. It either means I want to open this dude's emails or no, I don't, right? So just
Right.
building a track record of sending good stuff would make that decision for you, right? Like when I get my daily email from Seth Godin's blog.
Yep.
I don't always read it because I run out of time, but I don't delete it because I'm like, oh, I want to try to read that if I have time, right?
Yeah, I should read that later. That's why that mailbox app is so awesome because you get that email and you're like, oh, I want to read this later. When? Tonight. And then it brings it back in your email inbox tonight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the price of the seminar in July? So the Explode conferences are $99 to attend, but you have a $30 discount, so it's going to be just 69. And actually, for Los Angeles in specific, there's actually an early bird that's even better than that. So just check out explodethis.com, which I'm going to type in the chat here and check that out. Um, Okay, Steve, you got any other big takeaways or things you want to run right back through before we wrap?
Not really. Just kind of want to set up the next class for Dan because Dan is a brilliant guy. I was excited. I wish I could be on the next webinar, but I'll be presenting that day as well. But I would have definitely been on this webinar because Dan knows what he's doing in terms of mass email marketing. Today we talked about mass email marketing and individual emails, but my guess is he's going to dive really deep into it, and he's got analytics and statistics from running his company, Happy Grasshopper, and they know what to do to elicit a response, and so it should be really exciting.
Yeah, a lot of the questions that we didn't cover too much on this call were about just that. What does it take to get engagement and response, and that's really what we're gonna dive deep on next week with Dan. So, well, listen, just want to thank you, Steve, for the time today. Hope everybody enjoyed it. We tried our. I was typing like crazy trying to answer as many questions as I could in the chat individually. If you have more questions, feel free to email myself or Steve. Steve, is your email on the slide deck? I bet it is.
My email,
Yeah.
it is not. I don't. No, it's not. But
Put
it's
it in the
Steve
chat.
at Tech. I'll type it into the chat right now. It's Steve at TechSavvyAgent.com, and I'll send it to. Oh,
Yeah.
you have to type it in. I can't send it to everybody.
Oh, really? Okay. Which
Yeah,
one are you using? Steve what?
Steve at TechSavvyAgent 2Vs.com.
Okay, cool. Well, so there's Steve's email address. We'll make sure to put his contact info in our follow up as well. So you'll get an email from us within the next 24 hours that has the recording, it has the slide deck, it has Steve's contact information. You can also, of course, go to techsavvyagent.com to contact him and
Or our
also
Facebook page.
talk to Steve if you're interested in Top Producer or any of the products in the Move family. But thanks again, Steve, and we'll talk to y'all later on.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it.
Okay.